Well, welcome to this week's Glasgow City Church Life Groups. So good to be able to share time together. Those of you who were with us on Sunday morning, I'm sure will agree what a wonderful time we had of worship and listening to the Word of God, receiving the ministry of Steve and Esther Uppel. Steve has got a very extensive ministry. He pastors a church probably of over 1,000 people down there in Wolverhampton, and he's a pastor to many pastors of many large churches around Britain and around the world. And so we were thrilled that he took his time out to come and spend the weekend with us in Glasgow, and they seem to really enjoy their time, and hopefully they'll be back with us again. I don't know about you, but I found the testimony so touching of the invitation that he and Esther received to 10 Downing Street by Theresa May, and the amazement that they had arriving there to see that they were expected and anticipated. I think the blessings of God and the goodness and the kindnesses of God are most appreciated by those who know what it is not to have these things, to have suffered and gone through difficulty. And perhaps some of us would have found it equally surprising or rather shocking to hear of the pain that Steve himself went through in his childhood, suffering racism and abuse. Then in his earlier years, in their earlier married life, the lack and the difficulty they had not knowing where their next meal was coming from at times. I think nobody appreciates the blessing of God more than those who haven't had it. And he opened his message with these words from Jude. I, Jude, am a slave to Jesus Christ and brother to James, writing to those loved by God the Father, called and kept safe by Jesus Christ. Relax, everything's going to be all right. Rest, everything's coming together. Open your hearts, love is on the way. What beautiful words. Loved, called and kept. Could I ask you now in your groups just to pause and think about these words, loved, called, and kept, and discuss, share with one another moments when it became real to you in your life that you are indeed loved, called, and kept, not just by those who love you, but even more wonderfully, by God Himself.